I hope I will be able to convince you that when talking about geopolitics, geography matters quite a lot. And also, here as elsewhere, that the devil sits in the details. So what I will try to do here is to make a case for a more optimistic interpretation of future developments. I don't see any reason that there is any great game underway in the Arctic, and I don't see any reason why there should be a great game underway in the Arctic. I will focus a bit on energy, because that is the key issue here. I had planned to say a few words about Russian policies, but Jakob will do that, so that will be very short, and also there is a time limit anyway. So let's move on to the next slide here. This is just to remind you of the general picture. Of course, here you have Scott's article. There was a peak, as you will remember, in international attention to the Arctic in August 2007 after the Russian flag planting, which, by the way, had no legal implications whatsoever. So that should be clear. I will also risk the statement that much of media coverage of Arctic issues, and also quite a lot of analytical coverage of Arctic issues, has been sensationalist, alarmist, without any real foundation for it. I will try to show why. And you also know that apart from the general climate picture, which was presented earlier, what is at focus here is the issue of energy. And energy, as was hinted by Scott in his final comments, energy in combination with unresolved territorial issues. And I will go into the details here. I will not discuss the new sea lanes of communication. I don't have the time, but also because I'm rather convinced that these challenges are rather in the soft security field than in the hard security field. And I would like to refer you to the recently released Arctic Marine Shipping Assessment, released a couple of months ago, I think. Very illustrative of those issues. Okay, so let's. Yeah, most of you will know these data, which refer, of course, to the U.S. Geological Survey, the 2000 edition, and the last year's updated and refined version of it. They stipulate, and this is a stipulation, as you know, that 22% of global undiscovered petroleum resources could be in the Arctic region, that is north of the polar circle. So there is no doubt that the Arctic, defined like that, is a promising energy province, maybe one of the most promising on the planet, particularly in terms of natural gas, but also in terms of oil. I should remind you that these figures are very uncertain. They are not based on geological surveys. They are based on comparisons with other global fields which have been surveyed. So it's a high degree of uncertainty here. But nevertheless, there is no doubt there are significant petroleum resources in the Arctic. But please also have a look at the color. The darker the color, the more promising the fields. And please have a look at the center of the picture, or the North Pole. What do you see? Nothing. I will return to that. So that was energy. And then here we have, I'll try to give you an idea of the second element, which is often brought into the discussion, the issue of territorial disputes or unresolved territorial issues in the Arctic. There are, as I can see it, basically 5 contested areas. 3 of them include both economic zones and continental shelves. And these are the Canada-US in Beaufort Sea, Russia-US in the Bering and Chukchi seas, and Norway and Russia in the Barents and Polar seas. And there are 2 issues which only involve continental shelves. It's the potentially overlapping claims between Denmark and Canada on the one hand, and overlapping claims with Russia around the North Pole. You have all heard the name, the Lomonosov Ridge, which is very much in focus in this context. And then in addition to these issues, that there are 3 further issues I should mention here. It's the issue of the passages between, well, through Canadian waters, hopefully, or through international straits, we don't know, Northwest Passage. There is a similar legal dispute related to the Northeast Passage, by the way. The second issue concerns the Spitsbergen or Svalbard archipelago. And it's about the interpretation of the 1920 Svalbard Treaty. Whether that treaty should be valid also in the 200 nautical miles zone around the islands or only within the area defined by the treaty as such. Norway has one interpretation, most of the world has another one. For some funny reasons, I don't know why. I will not even go into the Hans Island dispute. I suppose there were many Danes here, there might be some Canadians as well, there are. So I hope they will try to solve that in a more civilized way than they did in the 1990s. That was really a funny story. Okay, and then let's move on.